Alright, Chapter 4, Reporting and Recording. Introduction. The relief of the oil hazard substance of the environmental must be formally documented under the several environmental regulations, including but not limited to Title 40 CFR 302, 40 CFR 121, 112, 110, but it must be detailed possible the release of the oil hazard substance of the extremely hazardous substance excess for the reportable quantity must comply with the appropriate staff to determine the National Response Center of the State Emergency Response Commissions and later local emergency planning committee to be notified in the event of the harmful quantity of the oil released with the water of the U.S. Oil, sheen, and film, reported within the Nuclear Regulatory Commission under the Title 40 CFR 110 with required an additional oil spill with the wastewater of the UVS exceeds 1,000 gallons or if in 42 gallons or more of the oil discharged into the separate events during the 12-month period, the facility must be immediate additional reporting environmental protection agencies according to the Title 40 CFR 112 for the under occurrence of the spill must be documented with the reflect of the spill prevention control measure for the plan change for the operating procedures dictated with the engineering control that cannot be able to minimize the reoccurrence of the contingency plan shall be modified to address that. And the important element of the when release of the reportable wearing amount with the hazardous substance, emergency hazardous substance, extremely hazardous substance, exceeding the reportable quantity released within 24 hours with the Environmental Planning Committee, Environmental Emergency Planning Committee Right to Know Act 304A with the release of the extremely hazardous substances are only reportable if they occur with the manner required with no required notified in the Comprehensive Emergency Response Compensation and Liability Act of the Environmental Protection Agency interpreted the provision to meet the 24-hour period of the policy with the Comprehensive Emergency Response Compensation and Liability Act is applicable to the emergency planning Community Right to Know Act. This refers to the time period over which the release is measured and does not mean the responsible person with 24 hours of the district office of the council should be consulted before the decision is made to not really report a release. Spill reporting a verbal. A report with the hazardous substance relief of the emergency extremely hazardous substance release for the oil spill of the incident with only takes a few minutes. Table 2, 3, 2, 4, and 2, 5. 23, and 24 identify the appropriate federal, state, local agency immediately contact wherein there was applicable reportable release spill with reporting the National Response Center of the State Emergency Response Commission, local emergency planning committee, the 911, appropriately must occur immediately upon the discovery the reportable quantity has exceeded the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act, the Title 1, Statute 103. 3A and Environmental Planning of the Community Right to Know Act, Statute 304, and required by the National Reporting Response Committee, the State Emergency Response Committee, Local Emergency Planning Committee, was notified with the release of the reportable quantity of the hazardous substance, emergency hazardous substance, and the environmental health of the Emergency Planning Community Right to Know Act, reporting with the State Emergency Report Commission and Local Emergency Planning Commission community. Does not apply with the release result of the exposure solely with the site of the sites on which facility is located. The report shall be prepared when calling the report spill, which must be information identified in Appendix B. C with the spill for the extremely hazardous substance for the additional items that include with the verbal quantity. Verbal report Appendix C has the additional items on the bottom list of the data needs. B. Written reports. To follow with the report with the relief of the community, a comprehensive environmental response community liability hazardous substances not required by the federal state regulation unless the environmental protection agency definition of the continuous relief of the district office of the council of the PAO must be consulted with the public notice and a requirement for that, and then there will be reportable relief of the hazardous toxic radioactive waste remediation project. As soon as practicable, the relief of the required for the note for the Environmental Protection, Environmental Planning Community Right to Know Act, with the owner of the operating of the facility is required to submit the written file for the note for the letter effective with the local emergency planning committee, the state emergency response center, of the commission with the Title 40 CFR 35540B3, but the report must contain with all the information required with the initial notification plus any update additional information will expect the action to take the response contained with the release of any of the known of the anticipated with the actuate acute and chronic health risk with associated with the release and where appropriate provide for the medical attention necessary to exposed individuals. If they're owner or the operator of the facility of the subject of the Title 40 CFR 112, whenever the facility has discharged more than 1,000 gallons of oil, the soil will discharge more than 42 gallons of the oil in each of the two discharged within a 12-month period of the admin of the spill prevention control countermeasure plan must be submitted to the Environmental Protection Agency regional administrator within 60 days of the contents amendment identified in Title CFR 40 CFR 112.4. Detailed hazard material incident report DOD Form 5800 Series 1 must be prepared with each for the person physical possession of hazard material at any time of the incident identified in Title 49 CFR 151.15 occurred during the transportation, including loading and unloading transfers of the incident. Reports will be submitted within 30 days to cover the incident. In addition, any of the release incident set forth in one statute 151.15b with the report must be submitted within intentional release for the hazard material with the discharge with any of the quantity hazardous weight. The report is required for the undeclared hazard with the material shipment of 1,000 gallons or larger cargo tank containing hazardous material suffers structural damage to the landing of the retention system, even though there is no release of the hazardous material. Record keeping and documentation. All verbal reports made for the federal and state local agencies should be documented, retained, and project file. The recorded records should be retained in the accordance with the Department of Defense, Army, and Usace corporation and corporate engineers requirements. Chapter 5: Planning.